Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
My name is Blakespear, and I'm the state senator representing the 38th District. I'm really excited to be here with Assemblymember Diane Pappen and all of our advocates from Moms Demand Action and Brady. Let's give a big round of applause for everybody who's here. And Senator Dave Min is here as well, walking up. Thank you for coming. Across the country, people are frustrated, and they're frustrated because we are losing too many people to gun violence. People feel fear sending their kids to school. They're frustrated by a gun lobby and politicians who are putting profit over lives. Thanks to many of the legislators that will be speaking today, some of them have spent the last 12 years here in Sacramento working to better our gun safety laws. We are working to turn that frustration into action. In California, we are the shining example of what is possible when we put lives over guns. In fact, if California's mortality rate were the same as the national average, we would have lost 19,000 more people to gun violence. Firearm fatalities would have killed 19,000 more people over the last decade than we have lost. And if the rest of the nation followed California's example, we would have saved 140,000 lives. Think about that number. 140,000 lives would be saved if the nation had California's gun safety laws. So to be really crystal clear, gun safety laws save lives. As members of the legislature, we are, of course, concerned first and foremost with the safety of Californians, and we know that there is so much more to do. This year, several important bills will continue to keep California at the vanguard of our national gun safety efforts. I have two bills that I would like to highlight today, and other members will then speak about their bills. Taken together, these measures help us with the next step toward preventing future gun violence. This year, I've focused my efforts on making sure our present gun safety laws are working the way that they should. SB 1002 is a great example. So current law mandates that anyone who is admitted to a 71-hour mental health hold must refrain from possessing a firearm. But unfortunately, we have gaps in the law that make it difficult for local law enforcement to ensure that these newly prohibited people turn over their weapons. Because of these gaps, thousands of Californians who are on mental health holds never turn in their firearms. We have nearly 4,800 people statewide who are required to relinquish their firearms due to these mental health holds who have not done so. And this number, 4,800 people, is according to the latest California Department of Justice statistics. This presents a significant danger, not only to the individuals themselves who could be at risk of suicide, but also to the general public, of course, who could be subject to a mass shooting or domestic violence incident or any number of other tragedies. So SB 1002 has three major components. First of all, it gives individuals a clear deadline of 72 hours after discharge from the healthcare facility to turn over their firearms. It provides law enforcement the information they need to investigate who those people are and then to coordinate with the Department of Justice. And it directs the healthcare facilities to inform the individuals how to relinquish their weapons. Because if you're told you have to relinquish it, but you don't know how to do it, then you might decide you don't want to do it at all. Once law, I'm confident that SB 1002 will reduce the risk of gun violence by keeping guns out of the hands of people who are mentally unstable. The second bill I want to highlight is legislation to ensure that guns are turned in as part of gun buyback programs when they are confiscated by law enforcement during investigations, making sure that they are completely destroyed. So some of you may have read the New York Times reporting last December that many parts of guns that are collected in such gun buyback programs end up being resold online as parts of gun kits, and those are then easily turned into ghost guns. Unwanted guns promised to be destroyed and confiscated wind up back on the streets. This is just completely unacceptable. SB 1019 makes the law clear that the entire gun must be destroyed. Because of how the law presently defines a firearm, guns that were legally destroyed were considered destroyed when all the things that make a gun, like the barrel, grip, slide, firing pin, and magazine, were not demolished under the current law. So SB 1019, in concert with Assemblymember Pappen's AB 2842, changes that. So these two, SB 1002 and 1019, which were both passed by the Assembly yesterday, will make us safer when we are here in the state of California, and they are an example of laws that could be adopted by other states. I look forward to seeing them passed in concurrence on the Senate and then also signed by the governor. I'm very excited to be here with so many gun safety champions. We have Senator Min, who's also come, and Assemblymember Diane Pappin. And I will turn it over to, I think, is it okay with you if Senator Min goes next? Okay. I'll turn it over to Senator Min. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Blakespear. Thank you to the folks here from Moms Demand Action, Brady, and I think every town. Your red shirts and purple shirts are changing the dynamic of the politics of gun safety in this country. And it really is impressive and heartening to see the red and purple shirts come out to the Capitol when we're dealing with gun safety bills. My name is Dave Min. I have the privilege of representing the 37th Senate District in the heart of Orange County. I was elected in 2020, and shortly after I took office, had to deal with the steady drumbeat of gun violence, gun massacres in my district, one of the safest districts in the country. Cities like Irvine, Newport Beach, Tustin, Laguna Woods, etc. And so you may remember the Orange Office Park shooting that happened in 2021. The tragic drive-by shooting, road rage shooting on the 55 of a 6-year-old boy, Aiden Leos. The shooting in the Taiwanese church in Laguna Woods. The mass shooting at Cook's Corner, a very popular biker bar in my district. Gun violence is everywhere. Churches, schools, workplaces, our places of worship, our roads. And I'm just here to express my frustration. I'm here to say basically enough is enough. We cannot allow this to be normalized, and it is normalized. That's the unfortunate reality, is that gun violence has made us desensitized. Because we read those reports every day. At this point, they're just stories, they're statistics, they're more names. But every time there is a gun shooting, a gun violence incident, whether it's one person or a massacre, that is somebody or somebodies who have died, who are the center of their universe. A mother, a daughter, a brother, a father. These are real people, and every time there's a gun violence incident, it is like a neutron bomb going off in that person's community. It is horrific, tragic, and we are the only country, only developed nation in the world where this is allowed to happen on a regular basis, and we cannot allow this to occur. Mental health, every time we have a shooting, a mass shooting in this country, the NRA and its allies blame this on mental health. They find some new boogeyman. Video games, doors in schools. Well, other countries have mental health issues. They have video games, they have social media, they have doors in their schools, and they don't have the levels of gun violence that we have. So I'm encouraged by the energy that we have here around us, the energy that I see in politics at the local, state, and federal levels. But I hope we are able to pass these bills. Now, my bill, SB 965 this year, would help to address the connection between gun violence and legally purchased firearms. SB 965 would address the major data gap when it comes to criminal activity at gun stores by empowering the California DOJ to shed light on trends related to stolen products, background check outcomes, and guns used in crime, so we can finally address this issue head on. Our work would not be possible without the nationwide grassroots movement with groups like Moms Demand Action, Brady, Giffords, and every town. Again, so heartened by what we're seeing. I think it's the moms and dads that are going to turn the tide on gun violence in this country. So let's get these bills across the finish line. Let's get the governor to sign them. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
And with that, I think I have the privilege of introducing Assemblymember, my friend Diane Pappin.
Thank you, Senator. Well, good morning. I am so honored to be standing with each of you. You are an inspiration, and as a parent, when these episodes have happened, I will tell you that I think there but for the grace of God go I, that it did not happen at my daughter's school. And I know every parent sees themselves. Could it happen to me? Will that be my child? And Lord knows we have plenty that can attest it was their child. So this is certainly one of the most significant issues of our time. It has taken a Herculean effort to close every last loophole so that we can get a handle on the proliferance of guns in our community. I mean, there is no question that our nation is awash in guns. I'm very proud to sponsor my bill, AB 2842, which says, you know, we think when gun buybacks are happening, those guns are gone forever. Well, as it turns out, they haven't been. And this bill just says, whichever third party that a law enforcement agency contracts with, they may not resell any part of that gun, because what's been happening is parts of it are resold. Then you can use a 3D printer, and I know Assemblymember Gibson just joined us, and he will tell you about his past legislation on 3D printers. But 3D printers were used for the missing part, if you will, and the part that was destroyed, and then a new gun is created. It is a ghost gun, and the dangers of ghost guns cannot be underestimated. So I'm very honored to stand with this powerful force behind me, with colleagues who are giving voice to this issue and also taking action. So thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. Onward we go. And I'll turn it over to Assemblymember McCarty. Come on down.
Yes, I don't want to go after you, Mr. Gibson. The closer. Yes, you know, I'm proud to be here, but I'm saddened to be here, that we have to keep coming back year after year. And California leads the way on these issues. And some may say, you know, California has 100 laws on the books, and we still have too much gun violence. And we do. You know, one block from here in my district, in my hometown, about 2 years ago, there was a mass shootout that looked like a war zone. In under 60 seconds, there was over 100 bullet casings on the ground right here. And it's way too easy for people to get guns. It ends up in the wrong hands. So yes, California has 100+ bills, laws on the books, and I'm proud to have written 5 of those. But research shows that California, because of our laws, are safer than other states that don't have these laws. So in my final year in the legislature, chairing the Public Safety Committee, I'm proud to support these measures before us, because we need to keep going. We need to keep pushing. Because the bottom line is this: as long as Nevada and other states don't have real background checks and laws that protect the Second Amendment but protect our kids in school, we're going to have to keep at it and keep tinkering to make sure that we focus on loopholes or people going to gun shows and gun dealers and ghost guns and so forth. So the work really continues, and I just, you know, focus on what on my colleague who just left, Assemblymember Papa, noted, that I have kids in high school. They just went to school this morning. I just dropped them off. And schools should be safe zones. We should have to think about what could happen to our school. And I know that we're not safer having teachers and custodians having firearms in our school. We're safer when we have smart gun laws that keep guns out of the hands of people that shouldn't have them. So I'm proud of California pushing forward, support these package of bills this year. Thank you to the advocates to keep pressing forward, because we will not stop until we make sure that all of our communities are safe and we can stem the tide of this proliferation of gun violence. Thank you for your work. And with that, let me bring up a leader in this issue over the years, pushing the envelope forward on gun violence in his district in the state of California, Assemblymember Mike Gibson.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Buenos Diaz, to each and every one of you. I want to thank Brady, Moms Demand Action, Everytown, all of our coalition partners, to each and every one of you. Today is Thankful Thursday. I coined today Thankful Thursday. And so there are some people who should be with us. There's some people who should be saying Thankful Thursday. They're not. They're not here. And those people are connected to my DNA. There are people who represent and lived in my district, who should be able to breathe the same air that we breathe in right now, to have the same wind and air fall on our face right now. But those people are not here because their lives were taken away by individuals who, for a number of reasons, want to play God. And those are loved ones. Those are mothers, those are fathers, those are sisters and brothers, aunts, uncles, nieces, and nephews. Those are our neighbors. Those are people who we go to church with. Those are people who our children go to school with, and teachers who went to school thought they were going to go home and never went back to their home again. You see, I represent proudly the 65th California State Assembly District. Those areas of Watts, Willowbrook, where I was born and raised, Compton, Carson, North Long Beach, Harbor Gateway, North and South, Harbor City, and also Wilmington. I want to pause for a moment and thank Senator Blakespear, for being a drum major for justice in this space, and everyone that stands with me and those my colleagues who occupy this space as policymakers, doing everything that we possibly can to try to change the trajectory in California so that we can have less and less individuals dying from gun violence in this state. And hopefully that it will get contagious. Hopefully that New York and Chicago, Arizona, and Nevada and all these other states who don't have the same sensible gun legislation as we do will also catch the bug, catch the fire, and also pass sensible gun legislation in their states as well. You see, pushing forward. My colleague, Kevin McCarty, talked about pushing forward. And so the reason why I push forward is because gun violence is no respecter of person. You see, on April the 5th, 2020, my son and his fiance was walking down the street. And they thought they were going to go to the store in the midst of the pandemic. And they were met by gun violence. My son was shot twice. I did say I'm a member of the California Legislature. I did say that. I did, in my bio, tell you that I was a former police officer. That's chronicled. All the other things that I've done. Whoever would have thought that myself would have answered the door to gun violence, to my own family. You see, this is personal. This is personal. So that's why I support all gun legislation that my colleagues come up with. This is why that we beat the head of the NRA every chance we get to making sure that no more individuals die in our city, in our state, in our counties. You see, a few months ago, I did a Mother's Mornings March in Watts. We had about 1,000 people. We had mostly mothers. Mothers who are mourning the loss of their sons, daughters, husbands. They carried a casket for 1.9 miles in a 90-degree heat saying no more violence. No more should we be able to go to a funeral and bury our young people. But that was their quest, and we bring that quest here to Sacramento each and every day by passing good, sensible gun legislation. And so for me, in 2019, passing AB 879, requiring background checks for people seeking to purchase firearm guns with lower receivers. In 2022, AB 1621, banning ghost guns and the kits of ghost guns. Both of those particular pieces of legislation was signed into law. As my colleague said, we have over 100 pieces of gun legislations right now. We make sure that we do everything that we can to decrease the amount of people who are dying. These are individuals who are not coming back to be part of our dinner table, not coming back to be a part of our celebration. We do everything that we can to making sure that each and every year that we decrease the amount of people die in California. And so I'm proud to stand with every one of these drum majors for justice. I am proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with my colleagues in the California Legislature. I am absolutely thrilled and proud to be able to be a voice of reasoning, to be a strong voice to say no more. No more gun violence in California. No more people dying prematurely through the gun violence. No more.